Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is episode 4 of the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. Lately, in my YouTube suggested videos, I've been seeing a lot of Joe Rogan experience videos. So I assumed that the whole algorithm knew what it was talking about, and I started watching some of the Joe Rogan podcasts. I haven't watched a ton of them so far, but I would say that my opinion of Joe Rogan is sort of similar to my opinion on Penn Jillette, which is to say, about 50% of the time, I really feel very aligned with what they're saying. And then there's the other chunks where I feel less so. And in the case of Joe Rogan, sometimes he says some stuff that kind of leaves me scratching my head a little bit. And his recent video on Carnivore falls into both of those categories, the aligned and scratching my head aspect. So Joe Rogan just did 30 days of carnivore as part of January, which is World Carnivore Month. I'll link to the video down below in case you're curious and want to watch it, but he talks about his experience on carnivore. He goes into very, very vivid detail about his diarrhea that occurred during the first 2 weeks. So if you don't want to hear about diarrhea, then probably don't watch this. But if you think that sort of stuff is funny, then you'll probably get a chuckle out of it. Over the course of the 30 days, he lost 12 pounds. So pretty good in terms of weight loss, but more than that, he talked about how good he felt on the carnivore diet. That really reflects a lot of what I hear whenever I get a comment from someone that says that I should go carnivore. They just talk about how it's the cure for whatever ails you. You're going to feel better physically, you're going to feel better mentally, you're going to feel better emotionally. These are all things that Rogan touches on. He also even talks about this curing or lessening a skin condition that he has that causes some issues with pigmentation. Then he talks about at the end of the 30 days how he went off carnivore and had a big carb binge, and how awful he felt afterwards. He said his lower back hurt, his joints hurt. This is eerily similar to how I felt after I broke keto for a handful of days on my vacation a few weeks back. I'm not sure what I had noticed first, whether it was lower back or whether it was my knuckles. But then, around the same time, also I started feeling some stiffness in my knees. I found that getting out of bed just didn't feel as good. You kind of forget how good you feel on keto, and then when you're getting out of bed and you're kind of stiff and you grunt, you realize, wow, I haven't felt this way in a long time. Then as I was going down a water slide and pushing off, I got this sharp pain in my left elbow, and I thought maybe I did something wrong as I was launching myself down the tube. And then a couple days later, when we're at the airport and I'm pulling my suitcase behind me, I felt the same pain in my right elbow. And having had tendinitis before, I knew this is what this feels like. And then I kind of put all the pieces together, the joint pain, the knee pain, the back pain, the elbows, and realized what I had was inflammation. 2 days of being back into keto, and I was fine again. So basically, Rogan was articulating pretty much exactly what I went through. I think it's one more data point that is a reminder that carbs, especially, crappy carbs that are sugar and pasta and refined stuff, this is not good for you. It doesn't make your body feel good. So then Joe and his co-host or sidekick, I don't know what his name is, they started talking about, is this a long-term thing? And Joe kind of waffled a little bit. He said he didn't know. He didn't know what the long-term risks or benefits would be. Do you keep doing it for 60 days, 90 days, for life? And this is where we got into the head-scratching moment, because near the end of this clip, he suggests that maybe you do carnivore for 6 days on, 1 day off. So you have a cheat day and have a bunch of carbs. Have your pasta, have your bread, have your sweets, whatever. And I didn't get that. Why, after just describing the pain and discomfort that you went through when you went off of carnivore, would you choose to do that on a weekly basis? I don't get that. It seems It seems like that's one of those things that Rogan occasionally says that maybe is just one of those ideas that, I don't know, off the cuff, or, maybe he was smoking some weed before the show or something. I don't know. Let me ask you out there, if you're carnivore, does this make any sort of sense that you would want to do 6 days on, 1 day off? So to further the subject of carnivore, I get probably once a week a comment from someone who's carnivore that recommends that I go carnivore. They're always super polite, I've noticed. In terms of the comments that I get from people that don't like or want me doing keto, I've got the vegans, which tend to say some really nasty stuff to me. I've got the super clean keto folks that aren't always happy that I'm doing some dirty keto. And then I've got the carnivores, which are just really super nice people so far. And they're trying to encourage me to go carnivore, and maybe I will at some point. I'll give it a whirl for 30 days, maybe next January, maybe World Carnivore Month 2021. And I can get enough keto videos banked that I can be releasing keto videos, maybe in addition to some carnivore recipes during that period. But I'm not ready right now. I think with my family being non-keto and all the temptations that I need to fight just to stay keto constantly, I think that carnivore might be a bridge too far at this point. But I am curious. I'm carnivore curious. And a question that I have for any of the carnivores out there is, were you keto before you were carnivore? If so, what drove you to become carnivore? And do you feel significantly better on carnivore than you did on keto? Because I already feel great on keto. When I'm fueled by ketones and coffee, I feel like I just took the limitless pill. I feel great. So I'm really curious to know, do you feel 10% better on carnivore? 20% better on carnivore? Let me know down in the comments. And with that, we will take a brief break to hear from one of my advertisers. It seems that I get comments, an awful lot of comments, regarding what videos people would like to see on my channel, what recipes, things of that nature. I get people that submit recipes to me a lot, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a second. But I feel like sometimes maybe I'm letting people down a little bit, that I'm not churning out some of the videos that have been asked for as fast as I would like to, or as fast as you would like to see them. And I'd like to kind of explain why the videos don't come necessarily as fast as we both would like them to come. And this is not, I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. I just want to explain sort of the process that I go through. First, I have a Microsoft OneNote file with a lot of your requests in it. I believe by last count, there were 53 different chaffle requests that I had received, about a dozen for the corn dog maker, and then I got the people that want me to use all these other appliances, use the Dash bowl maker, use the Dash ice cream maker, use an air fryer, use an Instapot. And I've got all of these appliances, so yes, I would love to use them. But because of my family's schedule, I really only get 1 or 2 days a week to film content. And that's Monday and Tuesday. It's just very difficult for me to film when my family's around because there's always noise and commotion or people in the kitchen. I talked about this in one of the earlier podcasts. When my family is around, they're probably in the kitchen, eating or making food or something. And that's my office. So that's my studio. I can't film while they're there. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, I am working on recipes. I'm either experimenting because I want any recipe, any video that I do, that's my brand. And if it's not good, then it reflects poorly on Serious Keto and you'll quit watching. So I want to make sure that my recipes, I'm proud of them. I'm happy to have them out there. And even then, it seems like a week after I put a recipe out, I figure out a better way to do it. So there's that aspect, the whole taking the time to perfect a recipe at the limited window I have to actually film stuff. And then, like I said, I've got such a huge backlog of requests. On top of that, I've got 160 cookbooks that I'm trying to work my way through and find high quality, I call them gourmet even, recipes that I can keto-fy and sort of raise the bar on some of these keto recipes. And I've got, two 5-inch binders of about 2,000 recipes that I've curated over the years that I need or want to go through and see which ones I can convert to keto on that. So I have no shortage of material. I guess they call that an embarrassment of riches. I've got plenty of material to draw upon, which then makes it kind of difficult when I have people submit recipes to me. And I'm flattered that people submit recipes to me. Some are just situations where people have a particular keto recipe that they feel they've really nailed and they're proud of, and they would love to see it be part of this Serious Keto collection, whether they got credit or not. And I always give credit whenever I use somebody's recipe. Other folks will have something that they feel they've gotten close, but not quite there, whether it's taste or texture or whatever, and would like me to critique their recipe, try it out, and see if I can't hone it for them. And then there's some other people that I don't know if I'd call them a stalker or they're just super excited. I'll call them super excited. They just hit me daily with recipes. Oh, here's another thing I created. Here's another thing I created, and so on. And that, it gets to be a little bit overwhelming. So let me sort of draw a little bit of a parallel here. Alton Brown, who I'm a big fan of, when he first got on Instagram, he followed me. It was actually my old Instagram channel, Daddy Daughter Kitchen, and he followed me, and we had some back and forth dialogue, and eventually my daughter Courtney and I met him. Here we are. That's Fat Steve with the beard and everything. And I told him I was Daddy Daughter Kitchen, and he was, he made sort of an excited face, and we talked a little bit. I kind of made the assumption that somehow we bonded, which obviously we didn't. But in my mind, as a big fanboy, I thought we bonded. And, a couple times a week, I was tagging him in Instagram posts and sending him pictures and things like that. And he quit following me. Sometimes, when people are sending me recipe after recipe after recipe, I kind of get why Alton Brown quit following me. He was probably like, Steve, you're spamming me here. This is too much. Now, I'm not trying to say that I'm Alton Brown in terms of either skill set or fame or anything like that. What I am trying to say is that it's very hard for me to go through the quantity of comments and requests and suggestions and recipes that I get on a daily basis. I get between probably 300 and 500 comments a day between YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I do my best to try and read through them all. I reply whenever I can. And I'm trying to figure out a way that I can phrase this without seeming like a jerk or seeming ungrateful. But when I'm getting multiple recipes submitted to me from different people every single day, it's impossible for me to go through them all. It's impossible for me to try them all out and give feedback. I guess what I'm saying is, if you do leave a comment and I don't reply, it's not necessarily because I didn't read it. If you send me a recipe and I don't make it in a video, it's not because I don't appreciate your love of keto and your creativity. It's just I've got a limited amount of time. That time gets spent setting up for videos, setting up the videos, setting up the lighting, setting up the audio, recording the video, and then editing, which takes a lot of time because I'm not all that good at it. So if you do submit a recipe to me, please don't be upset. Don't think that I'm not appreciative if I don't make a video with that recipe. And if you've submitted some sort of a request for a given type of recipe or a given type of appliance or cooking method, know that I do keep track of all of them. And I do my best to try and work through them, sometimes in a sequence that's logical in my brain. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's logical, but it feels like it to me. I do try to have a variety in the videos that I offer so that I'm just not the chaffle guy. But that does mean then that sometimes it takes a while for me to get to certain videos. I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of content coming on Serious Keto. So don't worry about that. I'll always do my best to try and provide stuff that the majority of you want. Occasionally I'll throw in something that might be a little bit more of a niche type of a video, whether that's for someone that's got special food restrictions or stuff like that. You could be using a particular cooking technique or appliance that maybe isn't all that common, that maybe you'll never make, but might still find interesting to watch. But the great thing is, there is plenty more recipes and videos to come. And I think we're gonna have a lot of fun making them. So thanks for watching.